One of the deadliest earthquakes in Turkey's modern history has killed more than 37,000 people in Turkey and Syria. 8 days on, and hopes of finding many more survivors were fading. Hundreds of residents are leaving Hatay province daily, unsure of whether or when they will be able to return. We now cross live to SABC News' reporter Chriselda Lewis, who's in the city of Hatay in Turkey. Over to you, Chriselda. What's the latest?
Well, Francis, humanitarian organization, the Gift of the Givers, is today concluding its mission here in Turkey. It's been a devastating couple of days, Francis, with rescue teams working around the clock to ensure that they provide the necessary assistance to the people of this country in the wake of this disaster, in the aftermath of it. The death toll continues to rise as fast, heading towards the 40,000 mark at this stage. Rescue operations are continuing for the days that will be coming, but the Gift of the Givers, together with its team here, have played a very crucial role in providing the necessary support. We've seen them, perform absolute miracles in this country, where they were participating in recovery missions, assisting some of the other organizations, rescue teams that have been in this country as well. And there have been pockets of, Francis, as you've seen over the past couple of days, pockets of miracles where, together with the Gift of the Givers and other organizations as well, there have been people who have been brought up alive after days, more than a week after this disaster had struck. And I can certainly tell you that it's quite, painful what we have seen on the faces of the people of this country. There are still hundreds, if not thousands, of residents that are still waiting for news on their loved ones. All they want at this particular stage is for their loved ones to be found and for them to be given dignified burials. Just out today as well, Francis, with the Gift of the Givers, more bodies were recovered from the debris, from the rubble. And in some instances, where we were a bit earlier on this afternoon, the Gift of the Givers, together with its team, also searching one of the sites where it was believed that there were signs of life still there. And, from where we are, Francis, at this particular point, this is a disaster that is still going to be etched in the hearts and minds of the people of this country for a very long time. The devastation is so much, and it's going to take years, by no exaggeration, by all means, for them to pick up the pieces of their lives. But, I did speak to one of the residents here today to get a sense of what he believes. What do they think is the way forward for them? What do they do next? While many don't even know where they're going to sleep tonight, some of them have erected tents in different parts outside their homes. At night, when it's bitterly cold, such as this evening, they would light fires and sleep outside with their relatives, women, children, men. That is what we're seeing in this country at this point, because obviously it's going to be very difficult to find alternative accommodation for everyone. At this particular point, rescue and recovery is still taking place. And obviously, these families who have lost everything would need to find places in the interim for them to have shelter for themselves and their families. So one man that I spoke to a bit earlier on today has already thought far ahead. He told me that he thinks it's best that he and his family pack up, because they believe that economically there's no way to survive for them in this country at this particular time. Let's take a listen to what he told us.
After Syrian war and COVID-19, and after this situation, there is no future here for people, for social and economical. And also under Turkey, there are a lot of immigration, Syrian, Afghanistan people, but Turkey is not rich country. That's why I think, as you say, I actually want to go to Europe. Why? Why? Because I want to live there for help people, not just for German, also from all over the world. I have 3 children, and my sister, my wife is English teacher, and she has a TELK B2 degree German language.
And Francis, the real unsung heroes, I think, of this entire tragedy and the aftermath of it is the rescue workers that have come from across the globe to give some relief to the people of this country. The gift of the givers, of course, being a crucial part of that with its team and its specialized equipment to try and help in these search operations. I'm going to bring in now Dr. Ahmed Bam, who is the head of the rescue mission here. Dr. Bam, thank you very much indeed for your time. We've come to the conclusion of the rescue mission. Today was the last day that we've gone out, but it's been a devastating couple of days for you and your team. Long hours trying to bring relief to the people of this country. Talk us through, as we conclude, what goes through your mind?
Now, the last few days, as you can see, the team has really worked hard, Chriselda. They've really worked hard. Our dogs, our rescuers going out in those difficult situations, difficult climate that they're out there in terms of it. And as you can see as well, how unstable it is out there. The risks these rescuers take while going and searching for people, and our dogs as well, going into those buildings with so much aftershocks. A lot of buildings being very unstable, as you've seen in Turkey at the moment. So it's been challenging. And you know, our rescuers as well have recovered a lot of bodies, have assisted to bring closure to a lot of people. But also you must remember, psychologically also, it's difficult because normally our rescuers would be rescuing people, you know, the body would be intact or so. So I can't imagine how the bodies must have looked, you know, going through such of the rubble, picking out those bodies from there. So psychologically it's a huge part as well. Our dogs did well. I mean, we found 2 survivors. We played a vital role in the one survivor. The other survivor, we did play a vital role as well, but we had to come back to camp. And it showed our specialized equipment does work. But what was also amazing was a lot of the international teams, the respect they have for our South African rescuers, that they're so dedicated and so committed and so professional and so expertise, as well as our dogs. And they really, really admired us and wanted us to be part of all the teams.
I mean, Dr. Bam, where to from here? I guess, you know, the rescue, we've seen still, you know, over the past 24 hours, people still being brought up alive from under the rubble. From what you're hearing, the rescue mission obviously going to continue. But there's still so many people that are unaccounted for at this stage. We've seen the families sitting at fires like the one behind you once it gets dark, once it becomes cold. But they're not giving up hope. The resilience of the people of this country, I think, is something that has left me in awe.
It's true, Chriselda. I mean, if you look at it, the people, we've went through the streets. Everywhere we go, everyone is coming to us because they see the dogs, they see our team. Please help us find our loved ones. It's going to take, as I mentioned in the team debriefing, you know, we should reflect coming here and think about, we're going back to South Africa, back to our homes, back to our families. The people we're leaving behind have lost everything. It's gone. In a 1-minute earthquake, everything, their whole lives have changed. So we should reflect on what we're leaving behind and just seeing them, the pain and suffering that they're going through. It's going to take years to rebuild. And as I say, some generations have been wiped out because it hit at the early hours of the morning when people were not prepared. But as we go as well, it's important just to reflect. Our search and rescue teams that are going to be still in the field will still continue for 2 or 3 more days because live victims can still be found due to the magnitude and how huge the buildings are. But as time goes on, finding that live victims are going to diminish now. It's really cold where we are, as you have experienced as well. And, with the dehydration and no access to food, chances of finding survivors are going to be really, really rare as we go. But we believe in miracles, and I still believe we can find survivors. But as time goes on, the decisions that will be taken, obviously, to bring in those big machines, break down the buildings and get the rubble out, and to rebuild, which is going to take years, if not decades, to rebuild with this type of destruction.
Dr. Bamba, really do appreciate your time, and thank you very much to you and your team for allowing us to do the work that we do so that the world is able to see what is taking place here. You've handled us with exceptional professionalism. Thank you very much on the part of the South African media. We really do appreciate it. Thanks indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Bam, who is the head of the rescue team here in Turkey. And absolutely there, Francis, I can tell you, while all of this comes to an end now for the South African team, you know, the devastation and loss is something that's going to remain in the hearts and minds of the people of this country for a very long time. And just a reminder to our viewers, those brave men and women from South Africa who went out, I'll be speaking to them live on the SABC News channel at 9 o'clock South African time on our sister program, The Globe. We'll hear from them what their experiences are and exactly what goes into this kind of mission. We've seen it for ourselves, but I'd like for you to hear it from them and what it is that they go through. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, and thank you, Chriselda, for being out there and covering this for us. And yes, those people still being brought up. It's few and far between, and becoming more and well, less and less likely that survivors will be brought up. But there, as she says, there are still those miracles, and at least people are out there in case they can be rescued.